As always, we'll start this session with setting up proper motivation, which consists of three parts: refuge field, bodhicitta field, and the purpose of the session. For refuge field, I welcome you all to visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, Arya Nagarjuna, Arya Deva, Acharya Chandakirti, Arya Manjushri, Arya Valokiteshwara, Arya Vajrapani, Acharya Dignaga, Acharya Dharmakirti, Bodhisattva Krantadeva, and all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in front of you. And they are looking upon you with immense kindness and unconditional love, just as a mother looks upon her only child. Moving on to Bodhicitta field, visualize your two kind parents seated on either side of you, mother on the left and father on the right. And you're accompanied by all dear mother sentient beings living on a side. And this time you are leading them into the practice. The purpose of the practice is to awaken the Buddha nature within each one of us by resorting to the ultimate remedy, which is the wisdom of emptiness, complemented by driving force of bodhicitta, the aspiration to become Buddha for the benefit of all dear mother sentient beings, and grounded on renunciation, which in turn is grounded on great compassion by removing the two mental obscurations, afflictive and cognitive obscuration. By keeping these in mind, we'll recite the prayers from page number 3. And then while reciting the prayers, verses, remember to invoke their profound experiences and meaning. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Taking refuge and generating bodhicitta. Sangye chotan soki chonam la chanchu pardu dani kyapsu che dagi jinso gi pe sonam ki dola penche sangye dubar sho sangye chotan soki chonam la chanchu pardu dani kyapsu che dagi jinso gi pe sonam ki dola penche sangye dubar sho sangye chotan soki chonam la chanchu pardu dani kyapsu che dagi jinso gi pe sonam gi dola penche sangye dubar sho. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. In dependent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is free of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, who through the knowledge of all lead hearers seeking pacification to complete peace, who through the knowledge of paths causes those helping migrators to achieve the aims of the world, and who through the possession of omniscience helps subduers expound a variety of teachings. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings, the teacher, Sugatha, and protector, to you I make prostrations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays, to you, the Buddha, I make prostrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. The essence of dependent origination mantra, Dipeshla will play the audio. Thank you, Dipeshla.
Etum desham tathagato yavata desham chayo niroda evam vati mahashkamanaye swaha Om ye dharma hetu prabhava Etum desham tathagato yavata desham chayo niroda evam vati mahashramanaye swaha Om ye dharma hetu prabhava Etum desham tathagato yavata desham chayo niroda evam vati mahashramanaye swaha
Meaning of the Tendril Nyingpo mantra. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes as well is taught by the great seer. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear light and non-composite, such is the nectar-like dharma I have discovered. Finding no one who can fathom this teaching, in silence I will retire into the woods. Beyond utterance, thought, and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unseized, and has the nature of space. It is the object of apprehension of self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas of the three times, I pay obeisance. Four seals of the Buddha's teachings. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are of the nature of suffering. All phenomena are of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Transcending sorrow is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha, the Guru is the source of everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of eons. The Buddha does not wash the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of suchness that beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all bewildered and misery's gloom. If you are attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view. Now we'll turn to 37 practices of Bodhisattva. Last time we left on stanza number 16. Today we'll recite from verse number 17. Thank you, Dipeshla. Even when someone who is your equal or inferior, driven by arrogance, seeks to disparage you, to place them on the crown of your head with the same respect as you would accord to your guru, is the practice of a bodhisattva. Though gripped by acute poverty and constantly scorned by others, stricken by terrible illness and possessed by evil spirits, to take upon yourself the negativities and suffering of every being, and never to get discouraged is the practice of a bodhisattva. Though you may be famous and prominent, someone to whom others bow, though you amass riches like that of the goat of wealth, to see that worldly splendors has no essence, thus and thus to be without arrogance is the practice of a bodhisattva. If you have not pacified the enemy of your own anger, combating outer opponents will only make them multiply. Therefore, with the army of loving kindness and compassion, to tame your mind is the practice of a bodhisattva. Sensual pleasures are like salt water. The more you partake of them, the more your craving will increase. Therefore, when something arouses attachment, to abandon it immediately is the practice of a bodhisattva. All appearances are your own mind, and mind itself primordially transcends all mental fabrications. Knowing this and to remain free from apprehending the signs of subject and object is the practice of a bodhisattva. When you encounter objects that please your mind, like rainbows in the summer, though they seem beautiful, not to view them as real and to give up attachment to them is the practice of a bodhisattva. All suffering is like death of your child in a dream. To take such delusive appearances as true, how exhausting! Therefore, whenever you encounter unpleasant circumstances, to see them as deception is the practice of a bodhisattva. Of those who aspire to enlightenment willingly giving up their bodies, what need is there to mention external objects? Therefore, with no hope of reward or benefit, to benefit generosity is the practice of a bodhisattva. If lack of discipline prevents you from benefiting yourself, then your wish to benefit others is just a joke. Therefore, to observe discipline with no longing for worldly existence is the practice of a bodhisattva. For a bodhisattva who seeks a wealth of virtue, every perpetrator of harm is like a precious treasure. Therefore, without feeling irritation towards any, to cultivate patience is the practice of a bodhisattva. If Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas who strive for their benefit alone exert efforts as if to distinguish a fire burning on their head, to cultivate joyous effort, the wellspring of positive qualities is the practice of a bodhisattva. Special insight, perfectly endowed with shamatha, completely conquers all afflictions. Knowing this and cultivating meditative concentration that transcends the four formless states is the practice of a bodhisattva. The practice of the first five perfections, but without wisdom cannot achieve perfect enlightenment. Equipped with skillful means and cultivating the wisdom of non-conceptualizing the three spheres is the practice of a bodhisattva. If you do not analyze your own faults, you might put on a dharmic facade while behaving in a non-dharmic way. Therefore, to continually analyze your faults and then discarding them is the practice of a bodhisattva. If compelled by your own afflictions, you speak of the faults of other bodhisattvas, you yourself will degenerate. Therefore, never citing the faults of those who have entered the Mahayana path is the practice of a bodhisattva. Desire for gain and service leads to mutual arguments, and activities of listening, reflecting, and meditating decline. Therefore, to relinquish attachment to the households of friends, relatives, and benefactors is the practice of a bodhisattva. Harsh words disturb the minds of others and degenerate a bodhisattva's conduct. Therefore, to give up harsh and unpleasant speech towards others is the practice of a bodhisattva. Once you become accustomed to afflictions, they are hard to undermine with antidotes. Therefore, with the remedial weapons of mindfulness and introspection, to forcefully eliminate afflictions such as attachment, the moment they arise is the practice of a bodhisattva. In brief, wherever you are and whatever you do, always examine the state of your mind. Continuously working for the welfare of others is the practice of a bodhisattva. To dedicate the merit thus accumulated through these efforts towards enlightenment with the wisdom free to concepts of the three spheres in order to eliminate the suffering of all infinite beings is the practice of a bodhisattva. Okay, we'll stop for today. Okay, we'll continue. Okay. By relying on the words of the genuine masters, I explain the meaning taught in the sutras, tantras, and treatises in the form of these 37 practices of a bodhisattva to benefit those who wish to train on the bodhisattva path. Because my intelligence is small and my study is few, I lack linguistic skills to please the scholars, yet, since they are based on sutras and the teachings of the genuine masters, I believe this practice of a bodhisattva are flawless. Nevertheless, since the vastness of bodhisattva conduct is difficult to fathom by someone like me with an inferior intellect, I pray to the genuine masters to consider with patience all my flaws such as contradictions, incoherence, and so forth. By virtue of the merit gathered here, and by the power of conventional and ultimate bodhicitta, may all sentient beings become like a benefactor Avalokiteshvara, who dwells neither in the extreme of samsara nor in that of solitary peace. Okay, that's the end. Thank you. Get the page love. Okay, we'll recite the Heart Sutta mantra for 7 times. Tayatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha Tayatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha Tayatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha Tayatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha Tayatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha Tayatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha Tayatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha. Thank you, Dipeshla.
Me? Can you make good? Okay, taking the auspicious Bodhisattva vow, and let us wholeheartedly invoke the visualization of the Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, so loving, caring, and embracing towards each one of us. And also let us visualize the Bodhicitta field, your two parents on your two sides, and all the family members around you, and all the other sentient beings living down the side. And the purpose of this practice is to awaken the Buddha nature within us, and imagine that you are leading this and all sentient beings are joining you. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold precious Buddhahood in my heart. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as the previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwelt in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully follow the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as the previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwelt in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successively follow the bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as the previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successively dwelt in the bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successively follow the bodhisattva practices. Okay. The Tenet Systems, this is what we're doing, and the Vaibhashika, the first, the school Vaibhashika, and we're talking about the basis, the path, and the result. We are done with the basis, although just very quickly. And the path, under the path there are three: object of the path, and the object to be abandoned by the path, and the nature of the paths. So they're also done. Now we are doing the results. Okay. The results, just for information, we talk about there are three kinds of practitioners. In other words, okay, first let us think of the two kinds of practitioners. One who seeks personal liberation, and the other who seeks Buddhahood or complete enlightenment for all beings. Two kinds. And those who seek personal liberation, again, is of two kinds. One is Shravaka, and the other one is Pratik Buddhas. Shravakas in English is translated as the hearers. Hearers. Why they are known as hearers is for the reason that they listen to the Buddha's teachings, particularly the minor teachings about becoming Buddha and so forth. They listen to these teachings, they hear these teachings, they hear about the teachings meant to become Buddha. They don't really practice these themselves. So what they do is that they hear from the Buddha and they transmit to the people who are interested to follow the Bodhisattva path. So they just hear and then pass it down to other aspirants. So therefore they are known as the hearers. Okay, Shravakas. Then the other one is Pratik Buddhas, or in English it is translated as the middle Buddha. Middle Buddha. Middle Buddha meaning that the one who is awakened, partially awakened, and it is inferior as compared to the Buddhas and superior as compared to the Shravakas. So therefore they are known as the middle awakened one. More superior to the Shravakas and inferior to the Buddhas. So this is the point. Okay. So the Shravaka. So now from this we see that there are three kinds of the practitioners: Shravakas, Pratik Buddhas, and the Bodhisattvas. Three. And the Bodhisattvas, the Bodhisattvas, all three of them, they have their own respective goals. The goals, and there are three kinds of goals. For the Bodhisattvas, their goal is to become Buddha. And the Shravakas and Pratik Buddhas, their goal is to achieve personal liberation or nirvana. And you may be wondering, of course, the Buddhahood and the personal nirvana, there's a difference. See, in a loose sense, personal nirvana, there you achieve what the ordinary people would call as the fearlessness and the infinite happiness. The Buddhahood is fearlessness plus infinite happiness, and the personal liberation is just the fearlessness. Okay, now within the fearlessness or the personal liberation, nirvana, again we see that there are two Shravakas and Pratik Buddhas. Shravakas and Pratik Buddhas, what they aspire, the personal liberation. Whether or not there's a difference between these two. Yes, there's a difference. personal liberation, both are personal liberation, both are personal nirvanas, but there's a qualitative difference between the two. The one achieved by the Shravakas and one achieved by the Pratik Buddhas. There's a difference there. In terms of the subtlety. For example, let's say sometimes, let's say the mobiles or the laptops or anything, we see that the same object can be produced by various companies. Some are very cheap and some are very expensive and high quality. So although it's the same object meaning like a pen. Some pen are like just say 2 rupees or 5 rupees Indian rupees, or just $0.50 American dollar, and where some pens can be like 1,000 US dollars, very expensive. And of course, if we are to be very fair, or if you are to be very honest, there's a qualitative difference between these two pens. Okay, so likewise, the personal liberation achieved by the nirvana, Shravakas, and achieved by the Pratik Buddhas, there's a qualitative difference. The one achieved by Pratik Buddha is of high quality and much more subtle, experiences more profound as compared to the one that achieved by the Shravakas. Okay, this is just very broad the understanding. And then and then you may be wondering, how long does it we've been hearing about achieving Buddhahood will take us about like 3 countless eons. This is what we have been hearing about it. 3 countless eons. Then what about the Shravakas and Pratik Buddhas? How long do they take to achieve their goal? Okay, this is a very technical answer that I'm giving you. And the Shravakas, of course, it depends on the individual. On how intelligent they are, and how pure they are in terms of the practice, how serious they are in terms of the practice. It depends on many factors. Okay, the Shravakas, let's say that some of the Shravakas, they may take about like say what is called as the 14 lifetimes. 14 lifetimes, not like 14 aeons, 14 lifetimes. And some who are very, the text, very standard text, they say that those who are exceptionally brilliant, they take like 3 lifetimes. If somebody is exceptionally brilliant, it takes 3 lifetimes to achieve a nirvana, personal liberation, personal nirvana. And whereas if you're a genius, this is a very rare exception. If you're a genius, then it'll take 2 lifetimes. Okay, this is for the Shravakas. Now for the Pratik Buddhas, because the result that you achieve, there's qualitative difference. For the Pratik Buddhas to achieve that, it is not about 1 life, 2 life, 10 lives, so forth. It takes like 100, what is known as kalpas, 100 aeons. This is 100 great aeons, not just aeons. Aeons and great aeons, there's a difference there. So in other words, it takes many lifetimes, 100 aeons, 100 great aeons. Okay, this is for the Pratik Buddhas. So the point is that we are to know that there is a qualitative difference between the 2 goals, the 2 nirvanas that which are achieved by the Shravakas and the Pratik Buddhas. Okay, this is one thing that I will share with you. And then the Bodhisattvas somebody following the Bodhisattva to achieve Bodhisattva path, to achieve Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. Say that like the dusk or the twilight. So there, the Bodhisattva, after accumulating merit and wisdom for 3 countless aeons, then find, for example, say Prince Siddhartha, and say at the age of like 35. And so after 6 years of the practice of the austerity, and then of course the Prince Siddhartha according, this is all about from the point of view of the Vaibhashikas. Okay, so Prince Siddhartha, it is like the last stage of the three countless aeons. The last stage of that part, all the three countless aeons already gone. And now he was on the last stage as a Prince Siddhartha. And then they say that after 6 years, then finally at the age of 35, the next morning, the next day's dawn, he was to become enlightened. So today, the dusk, around the dusk time, then he was involved in the combating with the demons when they come to hinder his practice. And then at the midnight, he was deep into the samadhi. And then before the dawn, immediately before the dawn, the next day, before dawn, then he became enlightened. Okay, this is a point. Now, the Vaibhashika's unique presentation is that, the Buddha, like Buddha Shakyamuni, their unique presentation is that the body that Buddha Shakyamuni attained, for Vaibhashika, this body which he got from his parents, meaning, the King Shuddhodana, and the Queen Maya. So this body, they say that although the Gautama Buddha, he is a Buddha, but his body is not a Buddha. His body is the ordinary being's body. This is what the Vaibhashikas believe. But the higher Buddhist, the Tenet Systems like Chittamatra, Madhyamika, their presentation is very different. So we have to know both. Okay, so this one thing. And then okay, and then just for information that then the Vaibhashikas, another unique thing of the presentation is that the Buddha, although you are enlightened, although you are fully awakened being, but the fully awakened being, most of us, what we learn about Buddhism, when we learn about the Buddha and so forth, we talk about what is known as omniscience, omniscient mind, a mind which knows every atom of the universe, every mind of the beings, everything that exists in the past, present, future. A single mind knows everything. This is what is known as omniscient mind. Whereas the Vaibhashika's presentation is very different. Vaibhashika would not agree to this. Vaibhashika would say that when you become a Buddha, let's say the Buddha Shakyamuni, when Prince Siddhartha, when he became Buddha, his mind, one single mind, does not know all phenomena, right? Same, but it's a matter of his mind. When his mind shifts from one object to the next, without any effort, he can shift and he can know every phenomena by shifting from one to the other. Whereas the highest Buddhist school's Tenet Systems point of view, this is not true. Say, one mind simultaneously can know all phenomena. This is the deviation. Okay. Then another concept that we have to also learn is that we talk about the three practitioners: Shravaka, Pradhyana, Bodhisattva. So there are three yanas or three paths, three vehicles. When you go through these three different vehicles, some go through the Shravaka path, then the Pradhyana path, Bodhisattva path. If this is how the beings they follow, then the question is that what will happen when they reach the end? Will they all invariably go towards, eventually they will all go towards the Bodhisattva path to become Buddha? Vaibhashika will say no. You're getting it? Vaibhashikas and Sautrantika also, they said that no. Once you go through the Shravaka path, and then you achieve nirvana, finished. That is your ultimate. From there, you will not switch to the others. And then, if another person goes through the Pratik Buddha path and achieves the nirvana of the Pratik Buddha, then that is your funnel. And the Bodhisattvas, when you achieve the Buddhahood, that's a funnel. In other words, they talk about the 3 final yanas or 3 final goals. 3 final goals. Whereas the Madhyamika's presentation is very different. So these are the nuances which we have to learn. Madhyamika's presentation is like, I say, okay, somebody goes through Shravaka and Shravaka path and achieves nirvana. And they Pratik some others Pratik the path and achieve nirvana. But these, after achieving the respective nirvanas, they will not stay there. They will have to follow the Bodhisattva path. You're getting it? According to the high Buddhist schools, the Tenet Systems of the high Buddhist schools like Chittamatra and Madhyamika. So then what's the point? If everybody has to eventually follow the Bodhisattva path to achieve Buddhahood, then why do they have to go through Shravaka path and the Pratik path in the first place? This question. So this is a very important point. So is that some people, they are so scared of their samsara. They are so scared of the samsara that you talk about the becoming Buddhahood will take so long. They will say that no, I won't invest that much of time. I'm so scared. I must be away. I must be free from samsara right away. So they are so interested to be free from samsara right away. So the Buddha taught, okay, that is possible. So they taught the Buddha taught the Shravaka path and the Pratik Buddha path. So once they become enlightened, or once they achieve nirvana from these 2 respective paths, then mentally they are more rested. Okay, now I don't have to be afraid of samsara. I'm free from samsara already. Then when the Buddha pointed them to the Bodhisattva path, they follow. Okay, this is according to the high Buddhist schools. But Vaibhashika would say that no. Once you achieve the nirvana of the Shravaka path, Pratik Buddha path, that's fixed. From there, you stay there, that's it. Stay there. And what is beyond this? This could be your question, right? So they talk about what is, okay, now this is a very important concept. They talk about, in fact, all the Buddhist schools, they talk about what is known as the 2 kinds of nirvana. 2 kinds of nirvana. One is known as the nirvana with remainder, nirvana without remainder. Okay, we know these technicalities. We must learn these technicalities. Nirvana with remainder and nirvana without remainder. Okay. And of course, it's a matter of English translation. Nirvana with remainder or residue. Some say residue. Nirvana with residue, nirvana without residue. The meaning is the same. It's just a matter of translation. Nirvana with residue or nirvana with the remainder. Without nirvana without residue, without remainder. Okay, same. What is meant by nirvana with and without remainder? This question. Okay, let's say that okay, how many of you feel that samsara is a very complicated place? I don't want to be in samsara anymore. Raise your hands. Samsara is very complicated. Lai Ying Leong, you're so frustrated. It's very complicated. Samsara is very complicated. Okay, the Siu Chingi, very complicated, right? Samsara is very complicated. Okay, anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, the Prabhjot Singh. No? Prabhjot Singh, it's very complicated, samsara. Yes, anybody else? Okay, the chart and Carolyn Main, very complicated. Okay. Tirindogala, very complicated. That's strange. A young girl, how come that you feel very complicated? Okay, I'm joking. Okay, young ones, if you feel the samsara is very complicated, means that's a very good indication. Because usually, when you're physically young, you have career to look forward to, right? And then those who think that, okay, I have career to build, And actually go there, you don't really find career, you only find miseries, right? You only find miseries. Okay, that is what is not feeling disillusioned by the samsara. Okay. Also, okay, whatever is the case, the point is that the samsara is a very complicated place. Okay, I simply want to get away from this. Okay. What about your body? You want to get away from your body? This question. Huh? Okay, Elroy, you don't want to get away from your body, right? Okay, but the body, what's the complication? Complication is the body. You're getting it? Complication is the body. Say the hunger is the body. Thirst is the body. Cold is the body. Cancer is the body. COVID-19 is the body. You're getting it? We say everything is body. And then all that the hard work that, believe it or not, minimum like 80-90% of the time that we spend, it is just to feed this body, to make this body survive. Believe it or not, house for the body. If you don't have the body, you don't need the house, right? And then buying the aeroplane tickets, buying the bus tickets, train tickets, and taxis, because you have to carry this body. You're getting it? This body is very complicated. We have to spend like almost like 90% of our time, in most cases, like 99.9% of our time, resource, everything is just to survive this body. You're getting it? It's very complicated. And then putting all the effort to survive this body, finally the body says, okay, now my body has this complication, that complication, or COVID-19. Oh, very complicated. Okay, so now people who are more thoughtful, they see that this body is a complication. I should be freed from the complications of the body, right? I should be freed from the complications of the body. Okay. Then what they do is but they have to do something, practice. So the path and the object of meditation, the path, and then the object to be abandoned by the path. So with these, then finally they practice and then achieve nirvana. Achieve nirvana. What is meant by achieving nirvana? To get rid of the mental afflictions. Afflictions are removed. Okay, so your mind achieves nirvana, but you still have so let's say today, say somebody, okay, sit for meditation, then you achieve nirvana. Okay, so your mind is freed, but you still have the body, complicated body, right? So this body is the remainder, is the residue from your non-enlightened state, from your parents. So you've achieved nirvana, but you still have the remainder, contaminated body as the remainder. Contaminated body is the remainder. Still, you have to eat something. If you don't eat, you will feel hunger. And then if you don't take care of, if you go to the crowded place, there's a danger that you can contract the COVID-19. All these dangers are there because of the body. So you have the remnant, you have the remainder of the contaminated aggregates from the past. Although you have achieved nirvana, so that nirvana is known as nirvana with remainder. You getting it? Nirvana with remainder. Now the nirvana without remainder is when you leave this body. In other words, in simple word, when the person dies, when the arahat dies, or when the arahat leaves his body, then the past contamination all are left behind. Then you become so pure, absolutely pure. This is known as nirvana without remedy. Nirvana without remainder. Remainder without residue. Okay, this is what we have to learn. And this is this concept, nirvana with remainder, nirvana without remainder, this concept which is accepted by all the Buddhist schools, not only Vaibhashika, but we have to know this from, if you know this from Vaibhashika, then you can, this concept you can take to the other Buddhist schools, Tenet Systems of the other Buddhist schools. Okay. Now we go to Sautrantika school. Sautrantika school. The next school, second school. Okay, the first, the Sautrantika school, in terms of the, what does it mean by, what are the qualifications of Sautrantika philosopher or Sautrantika system? What are the qualifications? What does it mean by Sautrantika philosophy? Okay, so what it says here is that the definition of Sautrantika: a holder of the lower vehicle tenets, lower vehicle, or the lower vehicle versus high vehicle in terms of the Tenet systems. In terms of the philosophy, this is what we learned earlier. Same in terms of the practice, we speak about the low vehicle and the higher vehicle or the greater vehicle. Now, in terms of philosophy, we also talk about the lower and the higher. So, the lower vehicle in the context of the philosophy is the Vaibhashika and Sautrantika, and the higher vehicle follower, higher vehicle the ten holder refers to Chittamatra and Madhyamika. So this we have learned before. Now it says that the holder of a low vehicle tenet who accepts, this is very important, who accepts both self-cognizant mind and externality to be existing truly. If possible, you try to learn this definition. If not, at least try to pick up identify the salient points which are the qualifications for somebody to say that somebody is following the Sautrantika school. So it says that the one holder of the lower vehicle Tenet system, number one. Number two, who accepts both self-cognizant mind, and then externality to be existing truly. Okay, there are four salient points there. There are four important points for us to understand what constitutes the Sautrantika school. Okay, number one, the lower vehicle Tenet system holder, which means Vaibhashika or Sautrantika. So this one. Number two, who accepts self-cognizant mind. Okay, I like to quickly touch on this area. This is very important point which we have to know. Self-cognizant mind. Okay, I will ask you a question. Okay, what is in my hand? Anybody, very quick. Don't waste our time. Okay, what is in my hand? Anybody, very quick. Okay, chart. No, we could not hear chart. Okay, anybody, very quick. Still we cannot hear chart. Anybody? Okay. Yes, chart, tell me now.
White flower.
White flower, very good. Okay, this is very simple, right? My next question to you, all of you, is how do you know that there's a white flower in my hand? Very quick. Raise hand. Raise hand. Okay, Jyoti.
By seeing it and
because I can see it, right? Because I can see it. Okay. Now my next question to you. How do you know that you are seeing it? Okay, Abelardo. Okay, unmute. Abelardo, unmute.
Have a perception and the concept of a flower in my mind.
No, the point is that even without the flower, still you can have the concept of the flower. But what I'm saying right now, you know that there's a flower in my hand, right? How do you know that? Your eyes can see this. Not only you know that you are seeing the flower, you also know that you are seeing the flower. How do you know that? You know it.
because my sense information tells me.
No, that is your sense consciousness knows the flower. What knows your sense consciousness?
My mind. My mind.
What knows your mind? Anybody? Okay, Amruta. Unmute, Amruta. Oh, you know? Okay, yes.
Geshe-la, past moment
A past moment, a future moment.
means in the past there is a reference that there is a reference of a flower, and therefore that past
Past
moment.
moment, your the today's moment, does it know tomorrow? No. So the past,
Becomes the reference for tomorrow.
that's true. But my question is, how do you know the flower? How do you know that I'm holding a flower? Your eyes can see that. How do you know that your eyes can see this? This is my question. Okay, anybody? 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 Okay, the Tripti.
Geshe-la, our mind interprets what it's seeing as the flower.
Okay, how do you know that your mind is interpreting it?
Because we have an understanding, it sends a message in that it's seeing a flower.
No. What understands the mind interpreting the flower?
The self?
Okay, what understands the self to interpret the mind to interpret the flower? Okay, in other words, this question, why I'm asking this question is that this is going to be just, continuously, it's a continuous flow. You will never come to a point to say that, okay, this is the final answer. You're getting it? So it's a very complicated thing, and we never thought about it. We never thought about it in a normal conversation. So this is a huge debate. And now if you say that, let's say, okay, on my hand, the 5 fingers, let's say that you're looking at this flower, for 5 seconds. The first second, the flower, how do you know that there's a flower there? The eye consciousness sees the flower. How do you know the eye consciousness sees the flower? How do you know that the eye consciousness sees the flower? Then the next moment of the mind sees the eye consciousness seeing the flower. How do you know the next moment sees the eye consciousness sees the flower? Next moment. You go like this, and then they say that, okay, this is very interesting. At the same time, it requires a little bit of thinking. And then you may get a little lost here and there. It doesn't matter. You're getting it? Let's say that right now, it is the 6:30 sharp. Let's say 6:30 p.m. sharp. Let's say, and then say before 6:30, let's say 6:25 p.m. I ask a question. Okay, so what made you? How do you know that there's a flower in my hand? Then you say that my. How do you know the eye consciousness, the flower? You said that. Say how do you know that there's the flower there? You will say that my eye consciousness can see that. How do you know that your eye consciousness can see the flower? It's because of the next moment of the mind sees eye consciousness seeing the flower. And how do you know that this mind, so this flower existed at say 6:25, and then this one, the eye consciousness that used to, let's say this was same, then that mind sees the eye consciousness seeing the flower. That mind is same on the 6:26. Right now, let's say it's 6:30 sharp. Then how do you know that this mind of the 6:26 sees the eye conscious seeing the flower? The next mind, 6:27. 6:27 mind sees the 6:26 mind seeing the eye conscious seeing the flower. How do you know that the eye conscious, the mind of the 6:27 know the 6:26 mind to see the eye conscious see the flower? 6:28 mind. Then 6:29 mind. 6:29, how do the 6:29 mind knows that? By the 6:30 mind. Fine. How do you know the 6:30 mind sees the what? 6:29, 28, 27, 25. Then 6:31. 6:31 mind is yet to come. You're getting it? 6:31 mind is yet to come. So how do you know that there's a let's say the 6:30 mind which knows the mind of the 6:29 to know the 6:28, 27, 26 to know the flower? How do you know that? You have no answer. You get stuck there. This is a logical inconsistency that you are trapped in. So how do you defend that you can see the flower? You cannot defend it. You're getting it? Okay. Okay, how many of you got something? Okay, yeah, there's some, I can see a little bit of contradiction there, although I could not fully understand yet, right? But then it makes some sense. Yes, something is there. Raise hands. Very good. Okay, I'm so happy. Thank you. Okay, now how to solve this issue? How to solve this problem? How to solve this problem? This question. How to solve this? So for that matter, for this matter, then the different answers are there, right? Okay, one answer is known as self-cognizant mind. Okay, let's say how many of you are seeing your seeing your laptop? How many of you are seeing the screen? How many of you are seeing the screen? Raise hands. Okay, Brother Peck, yes. Okay, we're all seeing the screen, right? Okay, and not only you see the, okay, let's say yes. Okay, I would say just pull your hand out in front of you. Pull your hand out in front of you. Okay, you could all see your hand. You're getting it? Let's say that it is totally dark. It's totally dark. It's totally dark. Okay, here in Delhi, now it is totally dark. But I can see I can see my hand. My question to you: what made me see the hand? What helps me see the hand? Anybody? Anybody? What helps me see the hand? See my hand? Okay, Carolyn Ming.
Light in the room.
Okay, the light.
Right.
The light in the room. The light in the room helps me to see my hand. Very good. Okay. My next question to you. Not only I'm seeing my hand, I'm also seeing the light. You're getting it? I'm also seeing the light. The light which helps me to see my hand. I'm seeing the hand as well as with the light. Okay, now my next question is what helps me to see the light? Anybody? Anybody? What helps me to see the light? Anybody? Okay, Suzanne. What helps me to see the light? Suzanne.
The reflection.
Which reflection?
The eyes.
No, what I'm saying is that my hand, what makes me to see the hand was the light. What makes me to see the light? What helps me to see the light? Right? So in order to see the hand in the dark, when it is dark, in order to see this hand, there must be something to illuminate this, right? Something to illuminate this hand. Okay, what illuminates this hand? The light. Now, not only that the hand is illuminated, even the light is illuminated. I can see that. I can see the light. So what illuminates the light? Huh? so that I can see it. Okay, Sweekin?
A self-illumination, the light is.
Okay, because okay, so this light, look, this light, it not only illuminates other objects like my hands, it also illuminates itself. You're getting it? So this light does two functions: one to illuminate other things, and the other to illuminate itself. It has two functions. Likewise, so let's say, what makes you to see the flower? You're getting it? What makes you see this blue flower? Because how do you know that there's blue flower there? My eye consciousness can see that. How do you know that your eye consciousness can see that? There's a self-illumination with my eye consciousness. My eye consciousness has two functions. One to know outside object, and the other to know itself, like the light. The light, one to see the object, one to illuminate itself. It illuminates both the object as well as itself. What Swikim said, the light has two functions. Likewise, our mind has two functions. One to illuminate the external objects, other to illuminate itself. You're getting it? So, this mind which illuminates itself, this is known as self-cognizant mind. Self-cognizant mind. Okay, but it is not that all the Buddhist schools accept the self-cognizant mind. Only some schools accept it. Okay, of the 4 schools, I'll tell you which are the schools which accept the self-cognizant mind. Vaibhashika does not accept it. Vaibhashika does not accept self-cognizant mind. Sautrantika school, yes. Sautrantika school accepts self-cognizant mind. Then Chittamatra school, yes, accepts self-cognizant mind. Then Madhyamika, there are 2. Prasangika does not accept. Prasangika does not accept. Then then what is next? What is the other one? Anybody? Madhyamika, there are 2. Prasangika and okay, Brother Bag.
Swatantrika Madhyamika school.
Okay, Savatantrika Madhyamika school, Prasangika and Svatantrika Madhyamika. Those who are new, just make sure that you note them down. Madhyamika, there are 2, Prasangika and Svatantrika Madhyamika. And now, to know about the self-cognizant mind, Savatantrika Madhyamika, we have to divide that further into 2. Svatantrika Madhyamika, we divide that into 2. You're getting it? Madhyamika, we divide into 2, Prasangika and Svatantrika. Svatantrika, you divide further into 2. One is Yogacara, Svatantrika Madhyamika, and the other one is Sautrantika, Svatantrika. You get? Let me say this again. Yogacara, Svatantrika. Other one is Sautrantika. Okay. In other words, it's very simple. Say, Svatantrika Madhyamika, there are 2. One whose philosophy is closer towards a Sautrantika school. Whose philosophy is closer to the Sautrantika school, and whose philosophy is closer to the Chittamatra school. There are 2. Svatantrika Madhyamika, there are 2 whose philosophy is closer towards the Sautrantika school, and whose philosophy is closer towards Chittamatra school. Chittamatra and Yogacara, these 2 are synonymous. Chittamatra and Yogacara, these 2 are synonymous. You're getting it? So, Svatantrika Madhyamika, there are 2. One whose philosophy is closer towards Sautrantika school is known as Sautantrika Svatantrika Madhyamika. Other one whose philosophy is closer towards Chittamatra is known as Yogacara Svatantrika Madhyamika. You're getting it? Okay, just make sure that you note them down and learn this. Once you divide this into 2, there's Svatantrika into 2, finish. There's no further division, don't worry. Right? There are so many divisions, we cannot learn all this. How, how come that I started to NDC? You're getting it? It's very complicated. What will it help me with all the classifications? Right? Okay, so you will think about it. Don't worry. I will not divide any further. No need to divide any further. There's no further division. This is the final division. Okay. Now, self-cognizant mind. Who accepts self-cognizant mind? Vaibhashika, no. Okay, next time, after this, I'll ask you the question. First, I will tell you. Who accepts the self-cognizant mind? Number one, well, let's go from the bottom to the up. Vaibhashika, no. Then South Trantika school, yes. Chittamatra, of course, yes. Chittamatra, I'm saying of course, yes, because Chittamatra's philosophy rests on the concept of the self-cognizant mind. Whole philosophy of Chittamatra rests on the concept of self-cognizant mind. Chittamatra, of course, yes. Then the Madhyamika, there are two. Prasangika and Svatantrika Madhyamika. Prasangika, no. Prasangika, no. Svatantrika, there are two. Yogacara Svatantrika and Sautantrika Svatantrika. Yogacara Svatantrika, which is closer towards Chittamatra, yes. Yogacara Svatantrika, yes, they accept self-cognizant mind. Sautantrika Svatantrika, no. No. You getting it? Okay, now are you ready? First, let me repeat this. Okay, Vaibhashika, no. South Tantrika school, yes. Chittamatra school, of course, yes. Then the Madhyamika, two. Madhyamika, Prasanga Madhyamika and Svatantra Madhyamika. Prasanga Madhyamika, no. Svatantra Madhyamika, two. Yogacara Svatantra Madhyamika and Sautrantika Svatantra Madhyamika. Yogacara Svatantra Madhyamika, yes. Sautrantika Svatantra Madhyamika, no. You getting it? Okay. This is a very important concept, self-cognizant mind. Now my question. Okay, shall I pick up the answer, or you are going to volunteer? Shall I pick up somebody to say that you should give the answer? You should give the answer, or you will volunteer. Maybe volunteer is better, right? Okay, if pick up, then next time the number of the NTC will be reduced to half. Okay, so volunteer. Okay, so I'll ask question and you decide. Okay, who accepts self-cognizant mind? Chittamatra? Yes, no? Yes, okay. Okay. Then the South Tantrika school. South Tantrika school. South Tantrika, no. Okay, how many say yes? Raise hands. South Tantrika, yes. Oh, how many say no? South Tantrika, no. Okay, those who raise hands, just look at your notes. It's just 2 minutes. There's a gap of the 2 minutes, not 2 years, right? Within two minutes, you forgot it. Okay, look at the notes and see South Tantrika school, the second one after Vaibhashika, they accept or not? They accept. Okay, what about Prasangika? Prasangika, no. Okay, what about Vaibhashika? That's the easiest, no. Okay, what about the Yogacara Svatantra Madhyamika? Yes. What about South Tantrika school? Yes. What about South Tantrika Madhyamika? South Tantrika Svatantra Madhyamika? No. Okay, that's it. So what we have here is that South Tantrika school, there are the several points, several demarcating points of this to qualify somebody as a South Tantrika school holder. Number one is that they should belong to the lower vehicle philosopher. Lower vehicles philosopher. What does it mean by lower vehicles philosopher? Anybody? What does it mean by lower vehicles philosophy? Anybody? Okay, Gayatri ji.
Yana.
What about Jane? Jane, unmute. Jane Larson, unmute. Yes.
Vaibhashika and Satrantika.
Very good. Okay, let us be very precise. The lower vehicle philosophers, lower vehicle philosophy philosophers refers to Vaibhashika and Sautrantika. Let's be very precise. You're getting it? Okay, good. Then the who accepts both self-cognizant mind. So this is in the book. The definition is in the book. Who accepts self-cognizant mind? Who accepts self-cognizant mind? So Sautrantika school, they accept self-cognizant mind. And then who accepts externality? This is a very important concept. Externality. Okay, how many of you are inside your house? Raise your hands. Okay, how many you came from? How many you went outside today? Raise your hands. How many of you went outside today for whatever reason? Okay, so there is outside and inside. You're getting it? Yeah, outside and inside. So outside is externality, right? So for say in the dream, let's say that in the dream, okay, you are sleeping in your bedroom, and then you start dreaming of going out. You're getting it? Okay, that outside of the dream, is that outside or inside? Anybody raise hands? Okay, Tripti.
It's still inside the dream.
Exactly. I'm not talking about inside the dream, outside the dream. I'm saying what you dreamt at outside in the dream. That outside, is that outside or inside?
Inside.
Inside. But in your dream, you see that as outside. In actuality, this is still inside because it's just your dream, right? Inside means okay, inside my house. This is one thing. Other one is inside means that your mind is inside and then outside of your mind. So dreaming mind and the outside of your mind. Dreaming mind and the outside your dreaming mind. You're getting it? So in your dream, when you dream of going outside, so that seems to be outside your mind, but actually it's not outside. It's just a part of your dream, part of your mind. So Chittamatra school, Chittamatra means mind only school. What they say is that only mind exists. Nothing else, there's nothing outside. It's all just mind or the nature of the mind. Nothing outside. Your mind is here, and the outside, the cafeterias there, outside Starbucks, outside shopping malls, right? Okay, then what else? Outside Gucci bags, right? This they're not really there. They are just inside, just your mind. Okay, so this is the Chittamatra, mind only school, who says that it's just your mind. Besides the mind, there's nothing really there. Whereas Sautrantika school says that no, that's not true. There is external there, outside or externality. Externality is there. Okay, so now look, externality and the self-cognizant, they accept externality, they accept self-cognizant mind, both to be truly existent, right? Truly existent. Okay. So we see that, so the qualification of somebody to be qualified as a Sautrantika philosopher or Sautrantika follower is that the person should be following the lower vehicle tenets, number one. Number two, that the person should be accepting self-cognizant mind. Number three, that person should be accepting externality. Number four, that you should be accepting the externality and self-cognizant mind both to be truly existent. If anybody qualifies these four things, that person is known as Sautrantika philosopher or Sautrantika. You're getting it? But you got. And within Sautrantika, so this is just giving you a very brief overview of the Sautrantika Tenet system. Within Sautrantika, we see that it's not like all the Sautrantikas agree with everybody. For example, all the Buddhists, they follow the same thing. No, right? Some follow Theravada Buddhism, some follow Mahayana Buddhism, some follow the Chinese Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism. And within Christianity, some follow Catholicism, some follow the Protestants. And within the Islam, some follow the Sufi then the Shia, then the Sunni, right? And then within the Jain, the Shwetambar, Digambar, right? So likewise, even the Sautrantika school, also, even one school, is so like it's one group. No, it's not one group. Within that, the Sautrantika following the reasoning, Sautrantika following the scriptures. Again, there are two within Sautrantika also, but the basic tenet system remain the same. Basic tenet system remain the same. Okay, so Sautrantika following reasonings and Sautrantika following the scriptures too. Okay, then the next one is then the main, say, the tenet system. What is the tenet system? What is the philosophical system? So the basis, the path, and the results. Now, okay, is easier for you. The basis, the path, and the results. Okay, the basic trend, the outline is just the same. The basis, the path, and the result. Under the basis, we're going to talk about the realities, the realities before you proceed to the path. Okay, under the basis, again the same thing. The basis is what? Object and the subject, right? In Vaibhashika, we study the basis, path, and the result. Under the basis, we study that into two groups. Again, object and the subject. You're getting it? Okay, under the object, what is being studied is that we're going to study one thing is the object. Well, now, this is what I'd like to share with you, that the Vaibhashika, Sautrantika school, unlike the Vaibhashika school, Sautrantika school, we take the Sautrantika, the school's presentation very seriously. This is very important. This is very important. Let us take the Sautrantika school's philosophical positions very seriously. Why? You're getting it? Why? Because the Sautrantika presentation of the philosophy, that is like the ground for Chittamatra and Madhyamika, all the Madhyamikas. What we study under Sautrantika, many of them we will take along when you go to the high schools. So Sautrantika 1 is something we have to take it very seriously, and most of the presentations there are all made very rationally and logically. You're getting it? In other words, the Sautrantika presentation, many of them are like the building blocks for the tenet system of the higher schools. So let us take it very seriously. And Vaibhashikas, they have their own unique presentations. That's fine. But Sautrantika, let's take it very seriously. Okay, number one, we talk about the object and subject. Object and subject as a part of the basis. Under the basis, the path, and the result. Under the basis with the object and subject. What is object? What do you mean by object? This question, you're getting it? How do you define object? Look, we don't just say that object and subject, okay, under object like this. What is object? In the first place, what is object? So the rationalizing, giving reasons, and defining all these things, they become crystallized in the Sautrantika school, and particularly the Sautrantika school, they bring the concept of what is known as they say mental imputation. Finally, finally we have to understand Prasangika philosophy. You're getting it? In order to be liberated, in order to free yourself from suffering, we have to understand Prasangika philosophy. What is the Prasangika philosophy which helps us to be liberated? The concept of emptiness. The concept of emptiness. What is the concept of emptiness? Objectively, objectively, everything is empty. Subjectively, everything exists. You're getting it? Subjectively, everything exists. Objectively, everything is empty. Objectively, everything is empty. Subjectively, everything exists. Subjectively exists. Objectively empty. So, subjectively empty means subjectively imputed. You're getting it? Things are subjectively imputed. So the concept of imputation plays an extremely crucial the role in Prasangika, the concept of subjective imputation. This concept of subjective imputation is for the first time. Okay, this subject of subjective imputation, concept of subjective imputation was so difficult, very profound, that the Buddha remained silent for 49 days. We all learned this on day one, I think, right? On day one of NDC, Buddha remained silent for 49 days. Why? Because the concept of subjectivity, that objectively everything is empty, everything operates on the subjective level. This is so profound that the Buddha said that they substitute so dumache duzi to be chushi kunya so the shaking ho minibe memanaga nasu never cha, that the path which I've discovered is so profound, peaceful, elaboration free, clear light, and non-composite, such as nectar like dharma, such a nectar like reality of the path which I've discovered is so profound that hardly I find anybody to fathom the depth of this teaching. So I rather retire to the woods in silence. This is what the Buddha said. So this concept is so profound. Because this concept is so profound, so this concept we have to be introduced in a very this stepwise, on the stepwise way, on the basis of the staircase, like steps. We have to learn this. The initial concept of this is introduced in South Tantric school. The concept of the subjective imputation is introduced in South Tantric school. Although it is very basic, it's not exactly identical with what is presented by Prasangika, but it's very basic. Although it's very basic, but this is like the opening of the eyes, which we are never exposed to what is known as subjective existence. So that is first introduced in the South Tantric school. This is so precious. Okay. So the first object subject. What is object? What's the definition of object? Okay, let's see. It says the definition of object: that which is to be cognized by an awareness. Something which is to be cognized by an awareness. Awareness meaning a mind. Something which is cognized by the mind. This is object. Okay. Let us all give an example of object. Very quick. Just raise your hands. Very quick. Let us give an example of an object. Anybody? Okay. Chart.
A table.
A table. Very quick. Anybody else? Okay. The switching.
Flower.
Okay. Minoti.
The pen.
The pen. Okay. The pen.
The self.
Self. Very good. Anybody else? Okay. You don't have object. Finish. And to see the object is finished. Okay, Laura.
Tea bag.
Tea bag. Very good. Tripti.
Anything outside of
Okay, please pick up one.
you, Geshe-la.
Give chance to somebody, some others. Don't say everything, right? Then okay, they say I, Dorji.
Yes.
Okay, Raviji.
Composite space.
Composite space. Okay, Shelly. Juice. Okay, thank you. Truth. Oh, very complicated. Truth. Is it really object? Okay, good point. Massimo, where is Massimo? Okay, Massimo.
Time.
Very good. Okay, so since that now we're almost time up. Okay, since that we're almost time up, let me take us back to the Ben's answer. What did Ben say? Anybody you remember? Except Ben, somebody else tell me. What did Ben say? Okay, Gayatri ji. What did Ben say?
Self.
The self.
Self. Yeah.
Yes, self. My question to you. Self, is it object or the subject? Anybody? Very quick. No, no, raise hand, raise hand, raise hand, raise hand, raise hand, raise hand. Okay, Minodi ji.
Gesala, I think it's the subject. If I'm observing it, then
No, no, subject object. This is just make it very simple. Subject object is subject. It's not object. It's not object.
no subject.
Okay. There, Laura. Where is Laura? Yes.
I think it's both.
Okay. Okay, it's both. Okay, that's okay. Both very complicated. That's both. Okay, anybody else? Very quick. Okay, the sadhana.
I think it's object because it's cognized by the mind. Yeah.
Okay, the sadhana is not a subject.
I don't think so.
Okay, you don't think so. Anybody else? Okay, the chart.
I also think it's both.
Both. Triti.
Both.
Both. Okay. Answer is yes, it's both. How both? Let's say. How both? Okay. Let's say I can see you. You're getting it? Okay, let's say that I am seeing this flower. I'm seeing this flower. Flower is the object and I'm the subject, the self is the subject. And meanwhile, you are not looking at the flower. You are looking at me. I know. You're getting it? So I become your object. Right? I become the subject with respect to the flower, but I become your object. With respect to you, I'm object. So I'm object as well as subject. In other words, anything that exists in this universe, be it object or subject, whatever, they are all objects. You're getting it? Okay. This is how we make a mind. From the school, we see that we can make a mind very flexible, and the ease comes to our mind. So in other words, everything that exists in the universe, they fall under the category of object, and some can fall in the category of subject as well. You're getting it? Okay, we'll stop here. 1 or 2 questions if you have. 1 or 2 questions. Okay, Elroy.
So, if the goal is to not fall into extremes, then doesn't the mind only school fall into an extreme?
Okay, Elroy, say it again.
If the is to not fall into any extreme, doesn't the mind only school fall into an extreme by saying?
If the goal is not to fall into extremes, if the goal is not to fall into extremes, then what?
School is falling.
Okay, I cannot hear you so well.
So does the Chittamatra school fall into extreme?
Okay, if the goal is not to fall into extremes, Chittamatra school, does it fall under extremes or not? Is this your question?
Yeah. Are they falling into extreme?
Okay, okay, this is a good question. My own school, does it fall under, okay, and if you ask Chittamatra, if I'm Chittamatra, if you ask me, I'll say, no. Chittamatra is the best philosopher in this world, right? If I'm a Chittamatra. Whereas from the other school's point of view, Chittamatra falls under the extremes, yes. Yes. In other words, except Prasangika, all others fall into one of the extremes. Because of this one of the extremes, they go into samsara. Yes, Elroy, you are correct. Okay, any more questions? Okay, Ben?
Yeshila, about the self-cognizant mind, you said that when I see the flower, then first my eye consciousness sees the flower, and then in the next moment, my this moment's mind knows the previous moment's mind that sees the flower, and so on. And then you said that there is a contradiction with the next moment's mind is yet to come. Can you explain this contradiction again? Because I didn't quite get it.
Okay. Thank you, Ben. Okay, let's say that it is let's say it is 7 p.m. sharp now. let's say it is 7 p.m. sharp now, and I asked this question. What is this? I asked this question, I'll say 5 seconds before. 5 seconds in order to get to 7 p.m. sharp. So the first second, the 5 moments are there. The first, I show this flower. What is this? You said this flower. And I ask you, how do you know that there's a flower in my hand? You said that my eye conscious can see the flower, right? Okay, Ben, how do you know that your eye conscious seeing the flower? Then you may say that the next mind sees the eye consciousness seeing the flower. How do you know that next mind sees the eye consciousness seeing the flower? You say that next mind. Then next mind. So now, after this is 7 p.m. sharp. So what sees this mind, the last mind, see this mind, to see this, to see this, to see the flower. Next mind is yet to come. So you don't have a mind to validate your mind having seen the flower. If you believe that to verify the one mind seeing the flower must be the succeeding mind, that is a contradiction. So therefore, say those who advocate self-cognizant mind, for them it becomes very simple. When they bring the concept of self-cognizant mind, it becomes very simple to solve this problem. Yeah. Okay, maybe the last question, if somebody has. Okay. Sweekim.
Ishida, can I check if the self-cognizant mind is like when we are doing the concentration meditation, the mindfulness, is the introspection. Self-cognizant mind is actually the introspection that actually watches the mind, whether we're mindful or not. Is that the self-cognizant mind?
Okay, thank you, Swekim. That's a good question. But we talk about self-cognizant mind now. Say when you do meditation, in order to make our meditation, the correct and proper, and to say develop it, to keep progressing it, we have to employ the introspection and the mindfulness as the remedies to improve our mind, improve our meditation. So this introspection, to just, you're meditating. While you're meditating, you keep an eye to introspect if your mind is meditating or not. So this introspection, is this a self-cognizant mind? This question. This is a very good question. Okay. So one, it depends on which school that you are talking about. I say finally, if you are to accept Prasangika as the ultimate philosophy, then there's no self-cognizant mind. So there's no self-cognizant mind. Introspection is there, so the introspection is not the self-cognizant mind, according to Prasangika. Good. Okay, we'll stop here. Okay, Vishad, do you have a question? Vishad?
Yeah. Hi, Geshe-la.
Yes.
So, Geshe-la, I did not understand the concept of externality. If you could explain it again.
Say it again.
I did not understand when you were teaching externality. I did not quite understand externality.
Okay, so basically that's true. Don't worry too much about it. So this externality is like, how you accept, okay, I came from outside, now I'm inside the house, right? Or tomorrow morning I have to go out for shopping. Tomorrow morning I have to go out to meet my friends. So outside, inside. So that outside is the meaning of the externality. In other words, okay, let's say that the outside, there's a traffic, right? There's heavy traffic outside. That is the externality. But Chittamantra says that what we see as outside is not actually outside. It is our deception. It's just like a dreaming mind, which dreams of something outside. It's just actually just a part of your own mind. There's nothing outside there. This is Chittamatra philosophy. Whereas the Sautrantic says that no, external is there, outside is really there. Okay, how many believe that outside is there? Raise hands. Okay, how many are doubtful of the outside? Okay, Chad is doubtful, Minodi is about doubtful. Okay, how many are doubtful? What I'm seeing outside is really outside or not? Okay, Lai Ying Leong. And then Lai Leong's friend, what is your name? Huh? Nora. Okay, Nora is also a little doubtful. Nora, do you know that I'm outside your house? Am I inside your house or I'm outside your house? Outside, right? So you're not doubtful of that. Okay. Okay, good. So is there anybody who has now a very pressing question? Okay, the Triptych, you have a pressing question?
Very quick one, Geshe-la. When you said nirvana without remainder, is this the same thing as rainbow body?
Okay, no, not at all. Not at all. So the rainbow body concept, it is a tantra. Tantra. What we are talking about here is you say the rainbow body is very different. So here, the nirvana with remainder, meaning the ordinary body. What we have now, exactly this body. This is not only this is in a very simple term, not only the body, but also the other aggregates, aggregate of feeling, discrimination, compensating factors, consciousness. All are there, not only the physical body. Okay, good, we'll stop here.
Okay, we'll turn to additional dedication prayers. Page number 288. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good, all-powerful Trinzik Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra too realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by all the Buddhas who appeared in the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. Changju Sem Cho Rinpoche Ma Ke Pana Ke Gyurchi Ke Vanya Pame Paya Kone Kondu Pervaisho. May the Supreme Bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase forevermore. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all beings without exception into that enlightened state. I dedicate the merit thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 3 times, and to the upholding of Dharma of teaching and realization. May I, in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Mahayana vehicle and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect view, and the 2 stages. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. By the power of practicing and supplicating to you, may all be free from sickness, poverty, and conflicts, and may Dharma and the auspiciousness proliferate in all the places where we abide. The path of the union of emptiness and compassion is lucidly explained by the protector of both the Dharma and the beings of the land of snows. You are the lotus holder Tenzin Gyatso. We supplicate you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds, of the negative forces of humans and non-humans who harbor malice through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas, be totally vanquished through the power of the truth of the three jewels. In all my life, never separated from perfect gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent dharma by completing the qualities of the stages in the paths, may I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by Arya Manjushri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings on dependent origination in particular, even at the cost of my life. Dayatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha Tyatha Om Gate Gate
Paragate Rasam Gate Bodhi Swaha Tyat Om Gate Gate
Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha. Thank you, Kishla. Thank you, Dipishla. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Geshala.
Thank you, Geshala.
Thank you, Geshala.
Thank you, Geshala.
Thank you, Lana.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye bye. Bye bye. Yeah.